Good afternoon, America. This is Stephen Gramberg from Channel 5 News with a breaking update on the missing Flight 115 bound from the UK to Australia. While the British naval fleet was patrolling the Pacific surrounding Australia as a result of the current World War, one officer saw large plumes of smoke rising over the horizon. Upon further inspection, he discovered an unnamed island engulfed in flames. Once the officer landed on the shores of this mysterious island, he discovered a group of barely clothed children ages from 6 to 12. For months, these kids had been stranded alone on this deserted island with no adult supervision. There has been a worldwide search effort. All countries in the Pacific area helped in the search. Until now, there have been no leads or further discoveries. As it seems, the missing flight crash landed on this mystery island and left a jagged scar through the dense jungle. All passengers, besides these fateful children, perished in the devastating impact. These passengers happened to be the adults and pilots. For 2 months, these boys survived on their own, hunting for food, settling signal fires, and creating shelters. According to the rescued children, only 2 of the crash survivors died while living on the island. We now go to the naval officer to hear his first-hand account of the story.
It was a clear blue day, and we were just out on our normal patrol, and while I was looking out over the bow of the boat, I saw this big black cloud. I thought there was a storm coming in, until one of my men shouted that it looked like a fire. This definitely wasn't just a bonfire, so we decided to go check it out. When I first got there, I only saw one kid. He looked like he'd been out in the wild for at least a few months. His hair was filthy and matted with dirt, and the little clothes he had left were all torn up and tattered. I asked where his parents were, but he just told me that they weren't there. I kind of laughed at the thought of it, but it looked like he'd been having his own war here on this island. When I said something about it, he said that he was. Figuring he was just joking, I decided to play along and asked if anyone had died in his little war, but he answered with complete seriousness and told me that 2 had been killed. At that point, I wasn't sure what to say. I'd seen enough honest men and enough liars to tell what he said was true. It was just about then that the rest of the boys came out of the jungle. They all looked just as bad, if not worse, than the first kid. I'm not sure how many there were all in total, but they all looked savage. Their hair was matted like the first, but these other kids wore some kind of war paint. They had pot bellies and looked like they could kill and eat a horse themselves. I asked who was in charge, and it was the first boy that spoke up again. I told him I thought that the British boys should have more class than to look and act so savagely, but apparently they tried that at the beginning, and it didn't work out. Things went downhill as they kept living on the island, and it ended up just breaking down to what I saw there. The boys all looked dazed and confused. They hadn't seen another human in months. Then, all at once, they all broke down and started crying. I wasn't sure what to do, so I just gave them some space, and once they all finished, they all got on the boat and came back with us to the mainland. I'm not sure what happened to them after that. We sent them to the hospital, and I heard they tried to ring their parents, but they kept mumbling something about a plane whenever we talked about them. Wherever those boys are, I hope they're okay.
The boys have all been sent to Royal North Shore Hospital, Sydney's top medical facility, to receive immediate evaluation and care. Meanwhile, the blaze on the island still rages on. Ships have been sent out to combat the flames, but the easiest and most likely solution is to wait until the jungle burns itself out. We at Channel 5 News will continue to keep you up to date as more information is uncovered. But for more detailed description of the events that occurred on the island, read William Golding's novel Lord of the Flies, for sale in retailers near you. We at Channel 5 News wish to thank you for joining us today and hope you have a great rest of the night.